Hi everyone. Now, just at the beginning of the video, you've seen some information, and this is on this fly here. You see a picture of the fly that was sent, as well as information on how the fly came to, basically how the dressing came about, and how well it fished. So this is one of the flies that we're going to obviously tie it on the talon vise just to show off what the vise is like. It's a nice, as you can see, it holds the hook really well. I'm holding it at the tip of the jaws. Now the hook I'm using, this is a fully mill hook. It's the all-purpose medium, size 12. Now this fly can be tied in a few sizes. I would say 10, 12s, 14s is probably the three best ones for the loch. Now it has a small fluorescent tag at the back, and this is the colour here. This is Glow Bright Floss number 7. Obviously I've put it into a spool, but it's actually destroyed the label. You can see the 7 and no more, but it makes, these are great flosses for doing these tags at the back. Now there's a couple of ways you can actually form the tag, but this is one of the ways. So what I'm going to do here is catch it just about head length away, or muddler head length in this case, away from the eye, which is quite short in this fly. There's the waist piece. I'm going to keep a hold of that, but as I wind down, what I'm going to do here is encourage it to be on the top of the shank, come to the bend, come round a bit, because I must form a small tag, and then bring the floss up, maybe 1.5 mm to 2 mm, and then use the floss as basically a blocker, or to stop it slipping round the bend of the hook. So we can catch that in. Once we've done that, we can then carry on up. Just keeping it on the top. Then we trim away the excess, and then as we come up, I'm going to change the thread over. I'm going to actually change it over to white. So I've got a uni 8 in white, this one. So I'm just going to catch it on, trim away. Now the reason I'm using white is for the head, so that when I'm using the white deer hair for the muddler head, you don't see it, but I can hide this white thread just by colouring it in. So now the other thing I'm going to do is actually I'm going to use a piece of black thread as a counter rib for the rib that's going to be on here. Now I have waxed, I've run the wax through this piece of thread. Now the counter rib of this fly is an opal mirage tinsel, which is really bright but not the strongest in the world, but sometimes you actually, you'll put it on, there it's there. This is the opal mirage in small. See, it's really bright, catches the light, and it works. So we're going to take a length out. Now, a wee tip, see if it comes off. It usually comes off a bit curly like this. Now, to basically straighten it up a wee bit, it just happens because it's on the spool. Just run your nail against the curl lightly, and you make it worse. Now, usually I did it too hard, so I'm going to go on the other side. Just happens, just lightly does it. There you go, that's a wee bit better. You see that's a bit static on it as well. But anyway, there we go, straightened out a wee bit. So the first time didn't work, second time it did. You just got to get the right pressure so it opens it or flattens it out. We catch this on, a couple of turns, just lay it to the back of the vise. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to colour the thread using a Sharpie pen, because it's a black body. This helps hide it, especially it's a black seal's fur. So just marker pen, just colour it up. The head of this fly is black as well, so I'm going to be doing that as well. So we've got some black seal's fur, so I'm just going to apply seal's fur to the thread, which can be as thin or as heavy as you like, depending on the type of fly. If you want it to float a wee bit more, or if you want it sparse, you can then put it on a wee bit lighter. So obviously you want it to float or get more a palmered like body, you can add a bit more. But once you start to wind up, you can then adjust that by just tightening up or slacking off. Just work your way up. And now the head of this is just a small muddler head, as you may have seen in the photograph, so you don't need to be too far back. Take away the excess. Just go back a couple of turns here and tighten up it right at the very end here. Just spin the dubbin, stroke it back, bring the thread to the front. That's fine. Now as I say, the rib is the weakest, it's not the strongest tinsel in the world, so I'm going to wind this towards myself, which is against the way I actually wind my thread and as well the rib. Now there's 5 turns there. The last turn's actually onto the head area, so I go across that with a turn on the top. Do the same again, and that locks it in. Trim away the tinsel. Now, when you're using a thread, you could use wire, but that adds weight, but the thread doesn't. You basically rib it the normal way, I mean the way you wind your thread, and it's cross ribbing the tinsel. You can come in between each turn, all the way up, or you can quickly go up, which will still work, but this way you don't really see it, and it secures, holds the tinsel on a lot better. And once you get it top, obviously tie it off, trim away. Now the wing, this fly, and I'm going to put it on first because there's legs as well. The other thing you can do is just hold your thread, sorry. You can bring out some of the dubbing, take your thread out of the way when you do this, from in this case the Velcro. Just rough it up a wee bit, gives it a bit more life, and then I just roll my fingers through it a wee bit. It makes it kind of more leggy-like, more lifelike, as I say. Now there is legs, I say, they're on it, but I like to put the wing on first and then put the legs on because it helps keep them apart. This is dyed black deer hair. This is basically the bleached and dyed, as they call it. Dyed black. It's quite hollow, but it's not too dense. You could use dyed black roe deer or something. Use what you have. I mean, even natural deer hair on this would be a good pattern. Take away the underfur. Now this pattern, it does give an impression of obviously midge. But if you read how it fished and why it fished and how it fit and what it was given an impression of, like the white head was given a white impression of even the caenis coming off. So that's what makes it a good fishing fly. Now there's cut ends in there, or broken ends. I'm just easy to catch because they're thicker than the tips, so just pull them away. Now the length of the wing, it's quite short. I would stick to the short wing, at least to the back of the hook. Just hold that. Trim away what you don't need. Wax your thread. Just catch it on the top, and then just make sure it's secure. Try and tidy up as much as you can, but at the same time make sure it's not going to pull out. We've obviously got legs to put in, so we can actually tidy it up a wee bit more as we tie in the legs. So we've got the pre-knotted legs, and it's a dyed claret. So we need 6, 3 either side of the wing. Once we get 3 either side, or 6, bring them 90 degrees from the stem of the feather, just pull them through your fingers, just tighten them up a wee bit, tear them away, and then we can then just force 3 either side away, either side of the body. So we've got our kind of hopper legs, secure it down. At this point we can see what they're like. I'm happy with the legs like that. You can position them, you can put them underneath, you can put them on the top even, it's up to you. Trim away the waist. Just tidy this area up, wax your thread. Now it's got a small muddler, white muddler head. So I've got, here we go, this is a piece of natural white actually. It's just above the tail of the roe deer. It's actually the finest I've got. Let me see, you can see a nice wee bit there. I don't want it too heavy, but you can obviously leave some of the tapered fibres as a kind of collar. So we can do that. We could keep it heavy, or we can trim it back like in the photograph. It's up to yourself. So trim that away, open the fibres out at the end here, because what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to stack it. I could get away with not stacking it because it's not too bad, but I'm going to stack it. Tips first into the stacker as usual. Just tap it on your desk. See, the tips have lined up nicely. We can then trim away. Now this is obviously going to form the small muddler head. Easiest way to do it is just to put the eye of the hook in the deer hair. Put the eye of the hook in the middle of the deer hair. Do about there. There's then hold it with your finger and thumb. Come round with a couple of loose turns. Because it's such a small head, a couple of loose turns, and then we can tighten and bring the thread through the deer hair towards the eye, which is tying it in. Draw back at the cut ends, and 3 or 4 turns in front. Now we want a black head, there is a black head on it, but I don't think it would matter if it was white. But if you want the black head, just use your Sharpie pen. You can make it even red, red would be a nice colour. This will change the colour of the head. You can see, now it's much easier just to touch a varnish on the thread and wet finish. And that will lock in the wet finish, then you can varnish if you want. Don't need to because it's a really strong wet finish, that, especially with the varnish on it. Trim away your thread. And then the cut ends, just bring them out. Obviously having them long like this. Go underneath the hook here, so I'm just going to bring them out. You can separate from the actual collar. As I say, I would keep the collar until I'm fishing it, see how it goes. If you want to reduce the bulk of the fly, then you can obviously take some of it out. But to form the muddler head, what I do is curve scissors. You can see these are just a small pair. I use the angle of the eye really to start me off. You've got to be brave. Now it is a small head, so there's not a lot of deer there, so you just come in. You can start off a nice tapered cut up from the eye. Use the eye as a guide, or you just rest the tip of the scissors on it, and then you can rotate the vise. Like Kevin's vise is really, the F&F vise is really easy to rotate. It's got a ball bearing inside or two, and as you adjust the screw at the back, actually for the tension, you can control it really well all the way around. So see, you could tie these so they're smaller, a bit more sparse. I'm going to stick to this size just now, and then as I say, you can always reduce it. If you want to reduce some of the weight, simple way to do it, you just come in, you catch 1 or 2 of them, and you keep trimming away till you're happy. I mean, there is a point where you've got to stop. Just say it'll stop just now while I've still got a fly. Very easy to trim your fly till you've got nothing left, especially with deer hair. You can't put it back on. You quite look. That's fine. I've got a long fibre here, or is it just the one that's sitting in? So there we are. That's the fly they call the monkey. If you want to varnish it again, it's just, the way I do it is just the tip of this brush. I like using a brush. You can just tap it in. Obviously you're going to fill the eye up a wee bit, and this will give you a nice finish. You can use a dubbing needle with a small feather to clean the eye out. I just use my dubbing needle, that's fine. There you go. And there we are. That's as I say, the monkey. It's a nice pattern, as you can see. Look at I'll basically put the information in below the video. You'll see a description and about the information on how the fly fished and what it represented. So Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and again, thanks for watching. Until next time.